China's Three Gorges Project, the world's largest water conservancy initiative, is often viewed as a symbol of the CCP's ambition to conquer and transform nature. However, it is striking that this massive project, costing over 250 billion yuan, was based on an unproven claim that building the Three Gorges Dam could replace the function of Dongting Lake. Dongting Lake, the second largest freshwater lake in China, is located downstream of the Three Gorges Dam in the southern part of the Xinjiang region of the Yangtze River. The Yangtze River flows into Dongting Lake through three outlets, Songzi, Taiping, and Ochi, before returning to the Yangtze. During the flood season, half of the water flow from the Yangtze River's Yichang section passes through this lake. Dongting Lake acts as a massive reservoir, helping to regulate and buffer the Yangtze River's floods. Additionally, the lake's wetlands and vegetation filter and purify the water, earning Dongting Lake the nickname the kidney of the Yangtze River. Unfortunately, this once vibrant lake has gradually withered due to the CCP's long-term transformation efforts, a process that accelerated after the Three Gorges Project began storing water in 2003. On September 1st, Dongting Lake appeared calm, with its surface barely rippling. However, a foul odor hung in the air under a thick, gray, smog-filled sky. Just about a month earlier, this area was flooded, causing dikes along the lake to break. 7 villages in Tuanzhou, covering nearly 50 square kilometers, were submerged, leaving over 5,000 people homeless. According to Chinese media, the water level in Dongting Lake continued to drop throughout August. On September 1st, the water level at the Chenglinji monitoring station was measured at 25.6 meters, down 8.7 meters from the flood peak of 34.3 meters recorded on July 4th. The lake's surface area shrank from its maximum of 2,625 square kilometers to around 920 square kilometers. In June, when the local area entered its main flood season, the Three Gorges Dam increased its water discharge. Dongting Lake, fed by 4 rivers, Xiang, Zi, Yuan, and Li, and 3 outlets from the Yangtze River, saw its water levels rise rapidly. By June 30th, the water level at Chenglinji had exceeded the warning level of 33 meters, peaking at 34.3 meters on July 4th. After the dike in Tuanzhou broke on July 5th, the water level began to fall. Since August, local rainfall has been generally low, with most areas around Dongting Lake receiving less than 25 millimeters. At the same time, the inflow to the lake has continued to decrease, causing the water level at Chenglinji to drop steadily throughout the month. Reports from Chinese media, citing meteorological and hydrological predictions, indicate that rainfall in Hunan province will be below average in September, and the Three Gorges Reservoir will begin storing water based on a planned schedule and real-time conditions. As a result, Dongting Lake's water level is expected to continue its downward trend, further reducing the lake's surface area. The local government has advised regions around the lake to prepare for water conservation efforts and to be vigilant against potential water shortages. The official report, written in the usual party speak, essentially means, with the Three Gorges Project starting water storage in September, Dongting Lake will face a water shortage, so prepare for drought. Don't blame us if you weren't warned. Historically, the Dongting Lake Plain, where Dongting Lake is located, has been known as a land of lakes and rivers, rarely experiencing water shortages. The lake area is rich in fish, shrimp, crabs, and rice. However, in recent years, droughts have become increasingly common. On July 21, 2023, the Dongting Lake Water Conservancy Center in Hunan Province disclosed that due to last year's continuous droughts in summer, autumn, and winter, combined with low inflow and rainfall this year, Dongting Lake's water level has remained persistently low. The lake's surface area has shrunk to about 605 square kilometers, just 23% of its total area of 2,625 square kilometers. The local government has urged the Dongting Lake region to closely monitor changes in water and rainfall, ensuring flood control and security measures are in place while actively preparing for drought conditions. Although the official reports do not mention the relationship between the Three Gorges Reservoir's water storage and Dongting Lake's drought, it's something that most people are well aware of. In 2022, the Dongting Lake region experienced the most severe extreme drought event since complete records began in 1961, lasting from July 2022 to March 2023. The most critical period occurred in late October 2022, when, by November 7th, Dongting Lake's surface area was only 1/7 of its normal size. The Three Gorges Project began storing water in 2003, with the reservoir's water level typically maintained between 145 and 175 meters. Every June, the water level is lowered to 145 meters to create a flood storage capacity of 22 billion cubic meters in preparation for the flood season. During the main flood period between July and September, the reservoir maintains a consistent outflow, allowing it to absorb larger flood peaks. When the inflow decreases below this outflow rate, the water level continues to drop until it reaches 145 meters. By late September to mid-October, as the flood season ends, the inflow is regulated to exceed the outflow, and the reservoir is refilled to about 175 meters over the course of a month. After that, the inflow and outflow are balanced, and from February of the following year, the outflow is increased to supply more water downstream until the water level drops to 145 meters by June. This yearly operational plan for the Three Gorges Reservoir is adjusted based on hydrological and meteorological forecasts, minor floods in the reservoir area, power generation, shipping benefits, sediment discharge, and the economic, social, and environmental needs of the lower Yangtze River region. Over the years, this operational plan has led to increased water diversion to Dongting Lake during the flood season, while reducing water inflow during normal and dry seasons. This results in more severe floods during the flood season and a shrinking lake surface during other times. Additionally, water quality has deteriorated and the ecological environment has been damaged. Many scholars believe that with the completion and operation of the Three Gorges Project, the Yangtze River's impact on Dongting Lake's water conditions has become the new normal. Particularly during the late flood season when the reservoir begins storing water, reduced inflow from upstream leads to seasonal water shortages in the Dongting Lake area. Drought has become a serious and long-term natural disaster in the region, significantly affecting the lives and production activities of the surrounding communities. Experts from the Nanjing Institute of Geography and Limnology at the Chinese Academy of Sciences studied two extreme drought events in the Dongting Lake area in 2006 and 2011. Their research shows that the 2006 drought, which lasted from July to December, was primarily a hydrological drought caused by reduced inflow to the lake. In 2006, both the inflow and outflow of Dongting Lake were below the average levels of previous years. From August to November, the total inflow from the four rivers, Xiang, Zi, Yuan, and Li, and the three outlets, Songzi, Taiping, and Ouchi, of the Yangtze River, as well as direct inflows from smaller rivers like the Miluo and Xinjiang rivers, was 23% lower than the historical average. During this period, the three outlets experienced long-term flow interruptions, with an inflow of only 4.5 billion cubic meters, 75% less than the historical average. At the same time, outflow from Chenglingji was reduced by about 52% compared to previous years. The reduction in outflow was greater than the reduction in inflow, leading to an unusual autumn drought in Dongting Lake in 2006, with inflow from the three outlets reaching its lowest level since 1980 and the four rivers reaching their second lowest level since 1992. The reality was that from June to August 2006, most of Sichuan and Chongqing experienced continuous high temperatures and little rainfall, leading to severe drought and significant reduced water flow from the upper Yangtze River. The Three Gorges Reservoir, in storing water, further reduced the already scarce Yangtze River water, causing long-term flow interruptions at the three outlets and reducing inflow to Dongting Lake. The 2011 drought, which lasted from April to November and worsened until September, had similar causes to the 2006 drought. Analyzing the cases of flooding and drought in the Dongting Lake area, it becomes clear that the Three Gorges Project has amplified and exacerbated both types of disasters. When rainfall is high in the middle and upper reaches of the Yangtze River and the Dongting Lake area, the Three Gorges Dam must increase water discharge for three main reasons. 1. To create flood storage capacity. 2. To prevent Chongqing, located at the reservoir's tail, from being flooded. And 3. To ensure the safety of the dam itself. This increased discharge worsens flooding in the Dongting Lake area and downstream in Wuhan, as evidenced by the breach of the Tuanzhou Dike on July 5th this year. Conversely, when water flow in the Yangtze River decreases, the Three Gorges Reservoir stores water for power generation, reducing the downstream flow and causing flow interruptions at the three outlets, which leads to a reduced inflow at Dongting Lake and worsens drought conditions. Scholars like He Qiuhua and others from the Hunan Provincial Key Laboratory of Ecological Environment Remote Sensing in the Dongting Lake area studied the changes in the lake's surface area and volume. They used satellite remote sensing data from 1994 to 2019, along with long-term water level observations at Chenglingji and data on precipitation and evaporation in the Dongting Lake area. Their findings indicate that, before and after the Three Gorges Reservoir began operating, the average annual surface area of Dongting Lake increased from over 1,000 square kilometers to just 857 square kilometers, a reduction of 20.5%. The storage of water in the Three Gorges Reservoir has also caused the low water period in Dongting Lake to start a month earlier, with very limited water replenishment during this period. As a result, the lake's capacity has significantly decreased after the Three Gorges Project became operational. Additionally, climate changes, such as a reduction in annual rainfall by 95 millimeters and an increase in annual evaporation by 47.1 millimeters after the reservoir began operating, have further contributed to the decrease in water resources in Dongting Lake. Professor Hong Lin from Wuhan University and others have shown that after the construction of the Three Gorges Dam, the amount of sediment entering Dongting Lake from the three outlets of the Yangtze River decreased significantly. Some scholars estimate that from 2003 to 2006, 60% of the sediment was trapped by the dam. The primary reason is that these extreme floods, which carry the most sediment, were significantly reduced by the reservoir. This led to increased scouring in the Jingjiang section of the Yangtze River upstream of Dongting Lake, causing the riverbed to deepen and the three outlets to rise relative to the surrounding area. As a result, the water level of the Yangtze River dropped, and the water flow into Dongting Lake through the three outlets decreased, leading to lower water levels in the lake and frequent exposure of the lakebed. Moreover, the long-term transformation of Dongting Lake by the CCP has actually damaged the lake's ecological environment, leading to severe consequences. Under CCP rule, the surface area of Dongting Lake has gradually decreased. During the flood season, the lake's area shrank from 4,200 square kilometers in 1949 to 2,625 square kilometers in 1983, and now it has been reduced to less than 1,100 square kilometers, only a quarter of its size at the beginning of CCP rule. After the CCP came to power, guided by the ideology of conquering and transforming nature, the local government promoted slogans like "March on the lakes and claim grain from water." In the Dongting Lake area, a large-scale campaign to reclaim land from the lake was launched, leading to the development of many polder fields, which are areas surrounded by dikes that prevent water from flooding and allow for drainage and irrigation. These polders have water gates that are closed during the flood season to resist floods and opened during droughts to draw water. The Dongting Lake Plain gradually became an important grain production center. However, extensive development and construction in the lake area resulted in crisscrossing gullies and dikes across the lakebed. Due to the storage of water in the Three Gorges Reservoir, the water level in Dongting Lake has remained low for extended periods, and the stagnant water has been divided by the dikes into small, relatively enclosed ponds. As the water level dropped and the depth of the water increased, the increased light penetration, slower water flow, and higher temperatures created a favorable environment for the growth of phytoplankton, which accelerated the deterioration of water quality. In the summer of 2022, Dongting Lake experienced an extreme drought, with the water systems of Songzi, Hudong, and Ochi drying up and the inflow from the four rivers decreasing, leading to a drop in the lake water's level and a reduction in its surface area. Under these conditions, the concentration of total phosphorus and chlorophyll A in the lake reached historic highs, and the biomass of phytoplankton exceeded the historical average. Due to the obstruction of natural connection between Dongting Lake and the Yangtze River, the exchange of water between natural rivers and lakes and the polder areas became difficult, resulting in higher levels of eutrophication within the polders compared to the external natural rivers and lakes. On August 4th, a report released by the Key Laboratory of Ecological Environment Remote Sensing in the Dongting Lake area highlighted that with the acceleration of industrialization in the region, pollutants from industrial and agricultural production have severely polluted the lake, causing the ecosystem to gradually deteriorate. According to a key survey conducted by the Dongting Lake Environmental Protection Monitoring Station, as of April 2022, total phosphorus and total ammonia levels exceeded the standards at 18 monitoring points in the surrounding rivers and lakes. The annual use of pesticides in the lake area exceeds 2 billion tons, along with the discharge of wastewater from Redding jute, and the use of chromium and pentachlorophenyl sodium in schistosomiasis prevention have severely polluted the wetland ecosystem, reducing its ability to purify water and exacerbating the problem of water eutrophication. Data from the Dongting Lake Environmental Protection Monitoring Station reveals that among the 11 provincial-level monitoring sections of Dongting Lake, 10 are classified as Class 4 water quality, while 1 is classified as Class 5. The average levels of total phosphorus and total nitrogen exceed the national limits for lake eutrophication by 1.8 times and 1.44 times, respectively. According to China's water quality classification standards, Class 4 water is suitable for general industrial use and recreational use where there is no direct contact with the human body, while Class 5 water is used for agricultural and landscape purposes. Additionally, the frequency of acid rain in the Dongting Lake area is quite high, reaching 75.9%. The water quality of the Three Gorges Reservoir has also deteriorated significantly, which has, in turn, accelerated and worsened the water quality of Dongting Lake. After the Three Gorges Reservoir began storing water, the river section within the reservoir transformed from a natural river to a reservoir, altering the flow of the water. This change caused significant alterations in the hydrological characteristics of the Yangtze River's main stream and many of its tributaries. The water environment in the Three Gorges area gradually shifted from a fast-flowing river ecosystem to a stillwater lake ecosystem. The pathways and retention times of nutrients like nitrogen and phosphorus changed noticeably, leading to increased eutrophication in the tributaries, with frequent algal blooms occurring in some backwater areas. Moreover, with the rapid economic development upstream of the Three Gorges area, the pollution load entering the reservoir has continued to increase, and the trend of water deterioration in the reservoir has not been curbed. The Three Gorges Project has wrought irreversible destructive effects on Dongting Lake. Water resources expert Dr. Wang Weiluo explained that on February 20, 1992, the then CCP General Secretary Jiang Zemin presided over a meeting of the Standing Committee of the Politburo to discuss the decision to build the Three Gorges Dam. The meeting invited 3 so-called representatives from the public: Yang Zhenhuai, then Minister of Water Resources, Qian Zhengying, former Minister of Water Resources, and then Vice Chairman of the National Committee of the Chinese People's Political Consultative Conference, and Li Boning, former Vice Minister of Water Resources. However, no opponents of the Three Gorges Project were invited. At the time, Qian Zhengying proposed that Dongting Lake had been silting up year by year and could no longer function as a reservoir, suggesting that the Three Gorges Reservoir should replace it. Then Premier Li Peng made a special note of the statement in his diary. On March 18, 1992, Jiang Zemin and Li Peng held a meeting of CCP leaders in the National People's Congress, NPC. At the meeting, Jiang emphasized that both he and the party's Central Committee supported the construction of the Three Gorges Project and that it was a decision of the Central Party Committee. He urged the party cadres to support this decision. Consequently, 2/3 of the NPC delegates voted in favor of the project, a proportion that coincides with the fact that 2/3 of NPC representatives were party members. This led to the approval of the Three Gorges Project. The primary purpose of the Three Gorges Project was said to be the replacement of Dongting Lake. However, Qian Zhengying never provided any reason or basis for why the Three Gorges Reservoir should replace Dongting Lake. Even 32 years later, in 2024, this information remains classified, and no one knows what exactly she was referring to. As for why Qian Zhengying supported the construction of the Three Gorges Project, Many speculate that she understood the mindset of the CCP's top leadership at the time and aligned herself with their wishes. Former chief engineer of the Guangxi Planning Commission, Wang Changpu, commented that Qian Zhengying was an old minister who was always infatuated with high positions. Hydrologist Wang Weiluo also pointed out, at the time, Hunan Province's governor, Chen Bangzhu, published an article in the People's Daily before the vote on the Three Gorges Project. He stated that the people of Hunan supported the construction of the Three Gorges Project and claimed that building the Three Gorges Project was the fundamental solution to eliminating floods and siltation in Dongting Lake. Now that the Three Gorges Project has been completed, lake's flood problems remain the same or have even worsened compared to before. Although the CCP initially decided to build the Three Gorges Project on the premise of replacing Dongting Lake, the official narrative shifted just 4 years after the reservoir began storing water. On April 16, 2007, the state-run Xinhua news agency reported, despite the positive impact the completion of the Three Gorges Project will have on flood safety throughout the middle and lower reaches of the Yangtze River, the role of Dongting Lake as the largest flood-regulating lake in the Yangtze River remains irreplaceable. In the report, a Xinhua journalist interviewed Dai Dingzhong, a sediment expert involved in the Three Gorges Project, who was attending the Yangtze Forum at the time. Dai stated, "If we believe that the Three Gorges Project can replace the role of Dongting Lake, we will be making a historical mistake." Dai emphasized that the Yangtze River's floods are massive, and their peaks last a long time. Given that the Three Gorges Reservoir's capacity is only 1/20th of the Yangtze River's inflow, its flood control capabilities are limited. He noted that while the flood control capacity of the Three Gorges Project should be recognized, it cannot solve all problems and is not a cure-all. Flood control in the middle and lower reaches of the Yangtze River still require a strategy of combining storage and discharge with a focus on discharge, where Dongting Lake and the Three Gorges Reservoir complement each other. Dai further explained that Dongting Lake, as a natural reservoir for excess floodwaters of the Yangtze, has a greater flood-regulating capacity than the Three Gorges Reservoir, making its role in flood control irreplaceable. The decision-making, assessment, and construction of the Three Gorges Project were influenced by the political and economic interests of the CCP elite. On June 4, 1989, the CCP military brutally massacred thousands of innocent students and civilians in Tiananmen Square. Jiang Zemin, who strongly supported and advocated for the violent suppression, caught the attention of then CCP chairman Deng Xiaoping and was promoted to the position of General Secretary of the CCP. However, Jiang Zemin lacked a strong base of support within the CCP's top leadership in Beijing. Li Peng, then Premier of the State Council, was the adopted son of the prominent CCP leader Zhou Enlai and wielded significant influence within the CCP hierarchy. The Li Peng family controlled China's power industry, amassing substantial wealth. Supporting the Three Gorges Project was, in some ways, akin to supporting the crackdown of the populace, showcasing Jiang Zemin's loyalty to the party. Additionally, it provided an opportunity for the Li Peng family to profit, allowing Jiang Zemin to secure Li Peng as a political ally. After taking office, Jiang Zemin's visits to the Three Gorges region and his public support for the project were seen as a political gesture of support for Li Peng, who was particularly enthusiastic about the project. This political alliance helped Jiang Zemin solidify his position in Beijing. Qian Zhengying, who oversaw the evaluation and quality inspection of the Three Gorges Project, held a high-ranking vice-state-level position and enjoyed the benefits until her death on October 22, 2022. Many supporters of the Three Gorges Project, such as Pan Jiazheng and Zheng Guangdou, were promoted to the Chinese Academy of Sciences or the Chinese Academy of Engineering, enjoying the status and benefits of deputy minister-level officials. In contrast, many experts and public figures who opposed the project were suppressed by the CCP. Since the operation of the Three Gorges Project began, frequent floods have occurred in Chongqing, the Dongting Lake area, and Wuhan, along with frequent droughts in the Dongting Lake region, bringing great suffering to the local population and causing ecological damage along the Yangtze River. Meanwhile, the elites and experts who supported the Three Gorges Project reaped significant rewards and enjoyed immense fame and fortune. In essence, the Three Gorges Project is a product of the CCP's pursuit of personal gain and the unscrupulous collaboration of intellectuals seeking fame and fortune. It also reflects the CCP's ideology of conquering and transforming nature.